Alright, so today I have an awesome sales video for you guys. I really try to get either really big name games that rarely go on sale or, try to find the lowest sale or try to find games that people don't hear very often. I don't think I did very good this time, but at least you know the motivation that I have while doing these. Anyway, before we get into this though, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you like me, if you don't like me, honestly, I don't care. Just please do that for me. Help the channel grow. Let's get to 2,000 before 2025. Anyway, let's just start off with a game that it actually goes off of sale in about 5 days, depending on when you watch the video, the 10th of September. It is a game called Death's Door, and it's a game I referenced just 2 videos ago, talking about how this is one of those games that really let me realize my potential, if you will. That sounds so corny, but no, seriously. It opened the door for games like Dark Souls, Morbid 2, a lot of those type of Souls-like games I just never really gave any time to because I didn't think I was that good. And after playing Death's Door, I really felt like I could play a lot of those games. Like, hey, it is within you to be able to beat these games. But anyway, right now, that game is $4.99. It is typically $19.99. $5 for Death's Door is an incredible deal. You should definitely pick it up if you don't have that game. So next, I got Hogwarts Legacy, which is a very solid edition of the game. Yes, it's not the same as the Series X or the PS5 or none of that, but it really does play pretty well on the Switch. And honestly, I never felt like it was half the game, or that I was missing out on just a whole other aspect of the game, or it's a night and day from the PS5 version or anything like that. I think they did a really great job with this port, and the game itself is fantastic. I adore it, and I'm still actually not done with the game just because I keep finding other things I want to do. Like, I keep trying to expand my time there in Hogwarts, but great game, $17.99. It is typically $59.99, so that's a huge discount, and you have forever. You have until the 16th to grab that game. Speaking of games that are huge, they have a lot to them. Nioh Kuni 2 will keep you busy for probably 100 plus hours, and this is the Prince Edition. And right now, this game is $9.59, down from $59.99. So yeah, this is one of those, if you don't have it, you're into JRPGs, you're into RPGs, especially that really focus more on like the old school traditional style of RPGs. Turn-based, of course. For some people it's going to be awful, for some people it's going to be awesome, but they really do it in a very entertaining way in this game. But it is traditional. This is a very back-to-basics kind of RPG, just with a beautiful cast of characters, an environment that's amazing, a story that is phenomenal. There's a reason why Nioh Kuni is one of those series that RPG fans just love to death, and yeah, it's because it's that good. So yeah, right now, $9.59, down from $59.99, great pickup. No Man's Sky, which continues to get just so many updates. Like, this game is updated, it feels like every other week. It right now, $23.99, down from $59.99. And like I said, they just dropped like a massive update not long ago. And again, a game with just hundreds of hours of content. I mean, literally, this is one of those games that you could probably just keep playing until whenever, Like, yes, I believe there's some form of a story, but it doesn't matter. The game is so open-ended. It's more like, it's so hard to explain the actual game style. It's almost like survival in space, but not as strict as a lot of survival games. Crafting in space? I don't know. It's one of those games where I could see a lot of people liking it, and I like it, I'm just not into it. It's hard for me to get into it, and keep in mind, I'm not creative or smart, so making like these outer galactic utopias and discovering new worlds and stuff like that, that's beyond me. I need a game that's just going to tell me which way to go, throw some blinders on me, and constantly remind me what I should do with the controller. But I will say, though, this next game I have absolutely no problem getting into, and in fact, I am obsessed with this game. It's a game called Valkyrie Chronicles 4, and I believe like the whole collection has some sort of sale on it. I just didn't see it. Right now, though, number 4 is $5.99, down from $29.99. This is sort of like a real-time strategy game meets almost a tactics game. There isn't a grid-based movement system, but you do only have so far you can move your character. And when you shoot, you do actually have some control over the accuracy. Now, not completely, that's still up to chance, but there is a little bit more interactivity with the game, if you will. But I absolutely love this game. The story, the whole thing, the environment, the characters, I wish they would make a new one soon, like really soon. But anyway, yeah, $5.99 for that game. If you've never played it, it's totally worth it, especially at $6. Another game that I have to say, if you have not played, check it out. Thank me later. It's a game called Nobody Saves the World. Now, this game, seriously, was one of those games that was almost up for like my Game of the Year award like 2 years ago. That's how much I love this game. It is a game where you are nobody, but you basically wear the shoes of other individuals. You sort of take their form and you learn their fighting styles, and most of them are weird creatures and stuff like that. It's a very fantastical game, and it does focus more on like that action-adventure combat style, you know, a little bit hacky and slashy, if you will, but at the same time, there's a lot of loot grinding and dungeon raiding and a lot of that kind of fun that you can just sort of get lost in the game, but never lose the purpose of the story, if that makes sense. So, great game. I love Nobody Saves the World, and there's actually a really cheap DLC as well that I have not checked out yet, and I definitely want to. Also, another game, God, for $10, if you have not played it yet, telling you, check it out. Even if you don't like any other game in the series, this game is $9.99, Monster Hunter Rise. I promise you that 98% of you are going to enjoy this game. I love Monster Hunter Rise, and I never was big into Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter was one of those series that, for me, it was just kind of like boring. And I know that sounds crazy, but you would chase a monster for like 30, 40 minutes, and it just got overwhelmingly repetitive. I remember there was times in the old games where like you would be chasing or tracking down a monster for like 20 minutes, and then you would lose him. There was nothing more infuriating than that. Let me tell you, this game, not that. It is much more user-friendly in that regard. When you track a monster, you're going to either get him or he's going to get you. One of the two things is going to happen. Or you might run into another monster, and those two might collide while you're, well, just watching it all happen if you're smart. Or you could be me and try to take them both on at the same time, which is never a good idea, let me tell you. Because these monsters, they hit hard. But yeah, $9.99, and there's just so much content here, not to mention the DLC that is basically like another game. That came out last year. Fantastic deal. I would definitely pick this up if you haven't. If you're on the fence with this one, $10 is a great investment to see if you're going to enjoy it. Next up is another game that I really like, a game that, I'm going to be real with you, was up for Game of the Year this year. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This game is a fantastic Metroidvania, one of the best I've played. Just incredibly fun. It looks amazing, performs great, controls are fantastic. I love everything about this game, honestly. And right now, it is $23.99, down from $39.99. It's not a huge discount or anything, but I think it's still so new that even that much of a discount is pretty good. Next up is a game that I feel nobody paid attention to. It got completely overlooked. And another game that I really, really loved. It's a game called Gunbrella. Now, this game right now is $7.49, and I think that's crazy, because the game sells regularly for $14.99, and I thought that was kind of crazy because of how good this game is. It, in many ways, ties together almost like a detective meets like Metroidvania with a lot of action-adventure and even a little bit of roguelike to it. But instead of coming together to make some kind of horrible abomination, it actually makes an incredibly great game. I love Gunbrella. For me, it was one of those games I just didn't understand why it didn't hit, and I'm guessing just nobody played it, because if you played it, I think you would have really enjoyed it. I just think there was a number of people who missed it. Another game that I think this one, though, is going to be a little more hit or miss with people, but I actually really enjoy it. It's Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. Now, yes, it does have the whole like gotcha mechanic thing of having to basically purchase cars individually, but you can only use the money that you make in the game, so it's not like you have to put your credit card in or anything. It's just, there's definitely times when like only a limited amount of cars are going to be up for sale, and you only have a limited amount of time to earn that money. If it's one you specifically want, then you're going to have to grind for a little bit, but it's still not that bad of a deal, and actually, the game itself is fun. And it really is one of those games that I would say has a little bit of a story, but I wish it was more. But really, this game is more showcased in the actual gameplay, like the racing, and it's just like fun arcade racer, where you can pick a lot of different wacky, zany cars, or even like a shark. Anything you want. But yeah, $14.99 gets you that game. It's typically $59.99, or $49.99 rather. It's still a really good pickup. And finally, Cocoon. Cocoon, if you're familiar with this game, was my late game of the year last year. And let me explain why real quick. Now, this game is a puzzle-solving game with no audio besides the music. Like, there's no voiceovers. There's no text even. And it doesn't tell you much about the story. Yet this game had me enthralled with it. That's how good the environment is. The graphics where you can jump in and out of different worlds, it's beautiful, and it happens so quickly. And it's one of those games where you feel really smart, but I think it's the way they design the puzzles, because again, I know I am not smart, but the fact that I'm able to figure out these puzzles, and in the manner that you do, like, you feel more intelligent than you are, but the way that you can go back and forth between worlds, the incredibly wonderful environments, the entire game is just amazing. And for $14.99, it's one heck of a pickup. Alright, so now that takes us to the section that I'm going to lovingly call the cheap section. No, seriously, I'm going to start off with actually one of my favorite games on the Switch that is right now only $1.99 and down from $14.99. It's a game called Beat Cop, which, if I'm being honest, the logo is just like a donut. It looks really cheesy, really, honestly. But when you actually play it, it's so good. It tells a very intriguing story about a beat cop and how his little situation can really blow up. It's also sort of a simulation style game, but done the right way. It's very hard to explain how this game actually plays out, but I can just tell you, it's a very great game. $1.99 is a great price for it. Now, to another game. I can't believe I'm saying this. Civilization 6 is $2.99. Seriously, Civilization 6. Now, you get all the updates, the DLCs. Well, you get the updates, but you get the DLCs and everything. No, it's just the standard Civilization 6. But $2.99? Are you kidding me? Like, I love Civilization. And Civilization 6 on the Switch was so awesome. I spent so much time playing that game. I can't believe it's $2.99. Like, this would be an easy, instant pickup if I didn't already have the game and all the DLC and everything that's included. Another game that I really, really enjoyed that right now is only $3.49, down from $19.99. It's a game called Shakedown Hawaii. Now, this game to me sort of blended GTA 1 and 2 and GTA 3 Vice City, maybe in that range. But it's also taken a couple characters who are just kind of out of touch, old, or just super bratty and spoiled, but either way, and putting them in hilarious situations where you're also committing crimes, you're also trying to maintain different infrastructure. You can basically buy the entire town, except for it's not like in Vice City where you sort of have to maintain it and do missions based off it. Not really, you just collect money from there. But you essentially build up your whole empire, and yet at the same time, while I do say GTA and games like that, the game is actually really funny and just kind of silly. It's not as serious as like a GTA, but yeah, right now the game is like $3.49 and it's totally worth it. It's typically $19.99. Some of the most fun I've had on a Switch in a long time. Another game that is on sale, and this one is a Devolver Digital game, and it's a game called Ruiner. Now, this game is only $3.99, and typically it's $19.99. Ruiner is essentially a top-down RPG set in like a cyberpunk dystopia. There is a little bit of importance on vengeance and the whole story about your character, and if I'm being honest, I haven't finished the game. What I did play of it, though, I really liked, and I got pretty far into it, and then if I remember right, I had to do a review or something, and I kind of lost where I was at, but honestly, yeah, $4, this is a great game for it. Super, super fun. Another game that I think is underrated is Under Dungeon. Under Dungeon, many people thought was a lot like a spoof of like Undertale, but if I'm being honest, like that's really, really insulting to Undertale. Like Undertale is one of the best RPGs, indie RPGs of our time. It's iconic in so many ways. And that doesn't mean Under Dungeon's a bad game. It just means it's not Undertale. And just because it was called Under something, like really you're gonna compare that to Undertale? Like it really, none of it makes sense because even the combat's not the same. The story, while having some moments of like meta, and honestly it's about you working at a place kind of like Amazon and uncovering some real corruption. Outside of like that kind of thing, the game reminds me nothing of Undertale, but it is a really good game that I don't hear enough people talking about, and it's $1.99, down from $13.99. I think it's a great pickup for it. It's a good, like, if I remember, I think it's about 5 to 8 hours. And honestly, I think that's like a really good time for it. The story is essentially laid out before you. You uncover a bunch of stuff, and it just feels right at around, like I said, yeah, like 6 hours or in that range. So for $1.99 though, great pickup. Now, the last game on my list is a game that I can't tell you anything about, really, because I don't know anything about it, but I am picking it up. It's a game called Valkyrie Arc, Hero School Story. It is $3.74, and originally it's $14.99. This game is very much like a sim style game where you build up your school, but there's also seems to be some combat involved. I don't know, it looks really cool, so I bought it, but I don't know anything about it. It just looks like a type of game that I'd really be interested in, and in fact there was a game I reviewed not long ago that I was hoping would be one of these style of games, but it just didn't really bring it home. This one seems to have more interaction when it comes to like the students and forming like heroes and hero teams, and also like upgrading your school. It just seems to be a little bit more balanced. But anyway, yeah, I'm definitely picking it up, and it's only $3.74, so can't really go wrong. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let me know if there's any games you're picking up, or let me know what games you're playing, anything and everything in the comment section down below. Much appreciated. I love each and every one of you guys. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.